Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Wednesday, June 16th, 2021, and today's topic is called Dimension Dipping, Dragon in Flight. And it's a collection of images and sky observations happening June 10th through the 13th, 2021. And here's just a little alternate cover slide, just showing a little bit of a different tonality in the colors. I'm going to toggle back and forth. That's the original one I'm going with, and this is another one. And it was just slightly different exposures on the camera phone when it took the picture of this. So this is going to be pretty exciting because, as the title says, I'm calling this dimension dipping. Look at this, glimpse I had of this figure in the sky, and, I don't know about you, but I can't figure out anything else that would form in this manner unless it's like a cloaking craft, a few of them combined to make this overall image appearance. That, or, let's think interdimensionally for a moment. Maybe this is like the leftover imprint in smoke, if you will, of a dragon figure, because I see two, kind of equal wings outstretched and legs and a tail, going out beyond. And if this were the head, this kind of smudge out, that's what I see. This was coming in from the north overhead in Miami, in the skies of Miami, and I honestly don't know what to call this because, again, look at the structure of this. No natural cloud formations do that in the sky above. So see what you think it is, but let's get into this exciting show here. But before we do, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, tien dobre, konnichiwa, dobro honya, annyeonghaseyo, boitarji, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, hurendag, and good day. And as I've mentioned in earlier shows, if there's a greeting from your country that you don't see posted there and you'd like me to include it in the intro, let me know and I'd be happy to do so. In the meantime, I'm just showing this little image of a tag I noticed on a wool product, clothing coming in, and I haven't seen this before and I really like it that it says to stay warm and keep smiling. So, you know what, stay warm not only physically but in the heart, and definitely keep smiling. I hope all of you are just out there, full smile exposed to really brighten up this world and give love and nurturing and even healing through one simple smile. Anyway, let's get into the show. So if you're new or returning, welcome to this channel. If you are returning, you may want to skip this little intro. If you're new, my little intro is just going to include the basics of what I do here. So I am just observing the skies over Miami, usually Miami, and just noting what I see in any given time frame that I'll post in the description box below. And usually it's at least once a week, and this, for some reason, I've been posting back to back quite a bit lately in anticipation of probably a lot happening in the sky, hopefully on the summer solstice that's observable. That's coming up June 19th, I believe, in the northern hemisphere at least. So anyway, what I do is just walk through some slides of things I've observed and taken pictures of just with a camera phone, a pretty old one too, an Android. And all that to say, what I do is just enhance some of the photos, and when I say enhanced, it simply means that I am editing attributes of the photos such as color contrast, color saturation, contrast, brightness, things of that nature, just to highlight and get at any points of interest in the photo. Sometimes I will definitely observe something pretty solid, and other times I just have a feeling something is in the sky, and I'll take a picture, and then when I run enhancements on it later, it usually proves out that my feeling of something odd was happening there was correct. Now, all that to say is, in the lower right-hand corner, I'm going to label it just for now, strange cloud activity. Cloud in quotes is there because I suspect there are cloaking objects or craft in and behind what I'm just calling cloud in quotes is more often than not to me, I'm going to refer to it as plasma, so something denser and heavier than just cloud vapor, water vapor, that, hangs around in the sky much longer than water vapor would. So when I say craft or objects, yes, I'm referring to something either ET made or otherworldly made, let's just say, or something, that is man-made or a collaboration of both, between man-made and ET intelligence. Also, when I say 3D craft, it means something that you can, yes, walk up to it, knock on it, touch it. It's very tactile. or it could be something very interdimensional, very ghost or phantom-like, very ephemeral. And then there's other supernatural phenomenon too that come in, like sky wisps or air elementals. That might be something, also just yet again completely different, of some type of intelligence that we're not too familiar with. Now I'll also drop in some letters here, as you'll see, just to help focus. It's a little bit easier to see what I'm pointing at than just my cursor, and it helps me focus on any given image, because sometimes there's so much going on in one particular image that, I really can't get to it all. And if there is something going on that I don't call out, it's not intentional. I just inadvertently probably miss something big even sometimes. But just let me know in the comment section below if I missed something that you'd like me to run enhancements on in the future and cover in the future. All right, let's get going. There's going to be more to talk about with this, but let's just go through the slides and I'll explain more as I go along. So here on the left-hand side is the original, the right-hand side is the enhanced photo, and it's just an example of, like on the left, I just noticed that was a very overall strange cloud formation. That's not a typical cumulus cloud, nor is up here at sea, because it's just very loose and ragtag. It seemed to have an overall shape kind of, forming out of it. So we looked to the right with enhancement, and on this one I didn't get at too much other than there seems to be a separate little object here at C.1. This is doing something here too. I think that's some type of object perhaps. Then down here it looks like several different objects. This looks like a triangular shape and something else strange happening here. So this is an example where nothing's too concrete. I have more of a feeling going on in this one. And when I, blow out the brightness on this and really lighten it up, when stuff still holds heavy and true, that tends to be, some type of object in there. Anyway, let's keep moving along. On the left-hand side is the original, the right hand is the enhancement. We'll just focus on the right hand for now, but it was just a strange overall formation to the north in the morning, looking north. And what was really odd, not only was the cloud shape, which again is not a typical cumulus cloud formation or anything that I've known in living in this area for many decades. The cloud formations are just looking very strange, nothing that you could call, point out to by textbook and times of yore, like a cumulus cloud or cirrus or something like that. This is starting to look interdimensional where my cursor is going around. Looks kind of egg-shaped. It's very strange. Has like a overlay kind of feel to it, like something in the foreground that's just kind of coming in and going. It seems to have a little bit of cloak, coming around, plasma material, tough thing around the edges here. But anyway, beyond that, it's just strange, this little stick-like projection and something else coming off of it. I just thought it was very strange. Here we have something that started to look like a triangular shape to me with like a dorsal fin on it. Strange, thing coming here interdimensional too with little distinct pieces in it. So we're going to look at that with enhancement, and here you go. This holds true as a shape, pretty solid symmetrical shape as well. Kind of like a pointed ellipse with a fin on it, or actually this is looking more rectangular. And again, we don't have, as you're going to see, I've been catching a lot of equilateral triangles and things of that nature lately, and that just doesn't occur in a natural cloud system, at least, the last good 5 decades of being on this planet. And here we go. So we've got like a triangular shape with a bowed bottom. This has more of a rigid shape to it, and to me this looks like, if you follow my cursor, like plasma cascading over, more solid shape. Now, why am I saying this? Well, because our camera phones now, they capture things at such a greater range of sensitivity than what our eyes can capture. So in terms of photo and light sensitivity. And so that's why we're able now to pick some things out. And again, I invite everybody to go out, if you're not doing it already, and really observe the skies around you, at least for 2 to 5 minutes a day. Coming and going, just make sure you look up, look all around, really observe what's going on with the cloud material, the shapes of them, the sun, the light quality, the warmth quality. There's just a lot to be paying attention to right now, and if you look at some of my previous shows, you'll understand why I'm saying this. And also, as always, please be looking at other Earth and Sky watching channels around on YouTube. It's, people just like myself, or you would be, going out and taking pictures and making some direct observations and just compare notes of what's going on where you are and around the world. All right, we're going to look at another scene. This just seemed weird looking south, again at a sunrise. We've got a weird ragtag. It's not even a true cloud form. You can't even call that anything. And it's not smoke, so what the heck is it? So I'm detecting there's stuff cloaking in here. I see a bright white point which to me, if you look at my other shows too, I talk about that when I see a bright white point amidst a background of either gray or a solid color, shows me if something's reflecting off of there or it's some type of sensor that's independent of whatever is cloaking. It's just something to pay attention to, and especially when we get to the enhancement, you'll see why. So in this case, I see a very straight edge. It's also not very common for typical clouds. And what's weird is that they have kind of a rectangular character to them with a little break in between. It just seemed odd. So here's with some enhancement. I don't get at too much more other than this is, there is a little object hiding in here, or maybe a couple. And then where that little bright point was, kind of confirms what I was thinking. This is a strange, kind of outcropping from this overall thing, which again, there's little bright white points here too. So I think that's kind of reflecting off of machine parts is what I'm going to say. We got some weird triangular shapes like on the ridge here too. Things are looking very structured to me. Also, we've got different color signature happening on this plasma forming around the outside of this, whatever this is. And we get a bit of a right angle happening in here if you follow my cursor. So I'm going to say these are two different cloak and craft with something happening in between. Almost like, if you will, like two subway cars or train cars, almost about to hook up. That's what it reminds me of. All right, let's move on. So here, I'm not going to go through each letter. I'll leave this to you guys when you have a little bit more time on your own time to really look around at each photo for things that I don't specifically call out. But you'll see it's going to be pretty clear why I've, flagged A, B, C, D, and E. So let's look at it with enhancement. And, we just get an odd shape that looks symmetrical, like with two wings on it. It looks a little like the shape of something I caught in the previous show. B.1 is a triangle, a little bit of a triangular shape, definitely triangular shape here with some like plasma wafting over the back tail of this thing, I'm going to say. And then E.1, we get a mini triangle and a straight edge here. And there's more going on in this photo, so have fun taking a look and seeing what you can find. Here we go again, just kind of listing all these letters. I'm not going to include a letter I, if you'll notice in the future, nor a letter O, because O can be confused with a 0, and the I can be confused for an L or an I, depending on the case. So I'll just skip that. But anyway, let's move on to the enhanced version. And we have a triangle, little triangular shapes here. What is this? This is like something flying off of here with a vapor trail. It's got a triangular shape to it. Another triangular shape in here, triangle here. Weird, base of a triangle happening here, other stuff happening here beyond. Again, triangular shape, and just weird stuff happening in here. Also, clouds don't form this way in nature. We've got specific chunks. We've got an angle, straight things happening. This little bridge element, looks very structured. And a little independent triangle back here. Just very strange. All right, we're going to look at the left and the right. We'll spend our time on the right-hand side on the enhanced version. On the left is the original. We get a, kind of a triangular shape happening here, a darker one in the sky. Has a different color, warmth, signature to it than everything else. Something else seems to be fading back in beyond some kind of veil of mist or, I don't know what has been fabricated in the sky to haze it out. Seems artificial though. And then we go to B.1 and C.1 and just look at this. This is no natural cloud formation. Plus, it's extremely low in altitude, which, clouds just don't spontaneously form up out of nowhere. Low in altitude in this area, it's just like unheard of, so that's why I'm flagging it. Then we look at C, and it's starting to have a strange shape to it. So let's enhance and zoom in further. Look at this thing. It's like a tree. I don't know what's going on. Looks like a hard-edged triangle in here to me. And then this has a different color signature too, so what's happening? And then something very interdimensional looks like it's happening here, or also something just kind of spontaneously, forming up in the background. So see what you think that is. And I always invite you to, see what you think is happening, and feel free to leave it in the comment section below if you know what it is, or you just have a fun, fantastical angle of cloud play of what that could be. It's also very entertaining to see those comments and to just kind of guess and wonder at this all. All right, left side's the original version, right side's the enhanced. We'll spend our time on the right-hand side. And again, just a lot of strangeness. These aren't natural forming clouds in nature. This is at a sunrise looking at the northeast. And as always, a lot of artificial cloud activity seems to form right over and move in to cover up our ability to see the sun rising. And that is because there is artificial tech up in the sky. If you look at my previous shows, I have enough evidence to back that up. And there are things called solar simulators, artificial suns. There's a lot of names for it. But if you look in the 1960s, actual patents were pulled for things called solar simulator. Take a look around there and look at some of my previous shows that explain why I believe there's artificial tech veiling our ability to see our true original sun. and plenty of other Earth and Sky watching channels touch on that too. And observe in your own area and see what you think is going on with the sun. Anyhow, this, barrage of strange looking cloud comes in. I mean, look at this. This thing is jutting up straight, like almost vertically at an angle. This thing is coming dead level. That just, you don't have a crisscross of these strange elements happening in nature with natural clouds. So anyway, see what you think is going on. I see somewhat of a triangular shape with cloaking material wafting over it. And look at 8.1. This is just strange. What's happening here with this wiggle form? And then there's a triangle at the end of it. See what you think is happening. There's a lot more going on in this one. Just have a good look around there when you can. We're going to zoom in on that more triangular element that's crisscrossing this more bent vertical element. And again, I've just kind of flagged some overall things, but I'll leave that to you after you kind of see what I look at. You'll kind of get the gist and be able to pick these things out for yourself as well. So like F is a clear triangle, E as well. This looks like another rigid shape happening down here. C.2, kind of rectangular in form as it's heading up. Now, what I've done here on this one is I've kind of done some subletters here in lowercase, B, B, and B, because within this overall B form, which I think is a triangular shape, we also have these little elements that look like machine parts popping out because they're a little bit brighter. They look like machine parts that have some cloaking material around them. And again, if you look at my other shows, you'll see why I'm saying that. They're better examples than some of my previous shows. Anyway, I'm going to keep moving along for time's sake on this one. We're going to move to another scene now looking south. And this is again at a sunrise. And just look at this. This is not a scene of typical cloud activity, not in this area anyway. We have something that's trying to act like a regular cumulus cloud off in the distance, but all of this is very low in altitude. But then look at this. It's like, what's going on? The spacing of this is so strange. These are, completely like falling apart as far as even if it were cloud. That's not, true cloud in nature. So let's just get to the enhanced version. And, look at 2.1. Color signatures change between the cloaking material around the more solid object. That's a triangular shape, no doubt about it, symmetrical. So I'm saying that's intelligent design, does not incur in natural cloud activity. F.1, what the heck is this thing? E.1 looks like a diamond shape. D.1 might be a pair of triangles. C.1 a triangle. B.1, I don't know what that is, but it's more solid in character with some like cloaking material around it. Same thing with 8.1. See what you think is going on here. It was just bizarre. The whole scene was bizarre. Okay, now we're looking at, speaking of bizarre, we're looking up and toward the west, and so a very artificial feeling cloud system was coming up from the west. But look at this though, we have a clear wedge shape. We're going to look at the right hand side. We see a different color signature happening in here, so that tells me something very artificial is happening. Now, is it artificial in a man-made sense, or is it artificial as far as just something we're not used to seeing and it's like a cosmic light event, or some type of what can I say, advanced ET tech happening in here? I don't know. My guess is as good as yours at this point, but I'll tell you this whole thing felt really strange, and this has a rigid, clear lines to it. So I'm saying this is intelligent, whatever it is. All right, let's keep going. Okay, left hand is the original, right hand is the enhanced version. This is just disturbance in the sky. You can see on the left, everything looks very choppy and fuzzy. It did even to the naked eye. And I call that staccato cloud activity or staccato effect. And I usually refer to that when I'm talking about something is up above causing this disturbance in the atmosphere. So I do believe that's more of a craft or something of intelligent design over this area creating the disturbance. I don't think it's something man-made and artificial messing with waves in the sky like HARP out of Alaska, those arrays, things of that nature. I tend to think this is some other phenomenon happening local above, just in what I've been observing for the last 3 years intently anyway. That's what the conclusion I'm coming up with. But anyway, see what you think again in your area as you look around and looking around on the internet. But here I'm just calling out these different characteristics happening at A, B, and C. Again, I'm going to leave this to you to kind of see what's going on, but we've got some, very rigid lines, parallel lines and different structure happening that's not, natural cloud activity. All right, this one, more strange cloud activity. We're going to look at this A area here. So the overall feel of this was just strange. Felt very artificial as far as a whole system forming. And then when we put some enhancement on it, we're looking at this 8.1 feature. It's really weird. We get this burst of different color. color signature here. And even in here, this is kind of otherworldly happening in here, this white bluish stuff. And then look at how do we have this burst of energy coming out, arcing over, and we have something coming down on angle out of it with like a peak on it, and debris kind of coming off the top, so off the point. So let's zoom in on this and take a better look. So to me, this looks like a cloaking craft in and of its own right, and with enhancement, you'll see why. We've got really dark body here happening here, even though I've kind of really faded out some of the brightness. And look at this point. It almost looks like this comes back to like this is the tail end of a craft, if that's the front end, like a elongated triangular shape. And then little either mini craft or sensors or something out, or scouts or companionships, who knows, coming out in front of this thing is what I see. These are separate object little bodies with cloaking material around them. They're bright white when everything else is a solid color, so that tells me that's something a little bit unnatural happening in the sky. See what you think is going on here, though, and this could also be something happening in here, cloaking, I'm not sure. All right, and then we're going to look northwest and toward the evening, and I just started to see a straight line happening here, and just more strangeness, more by feel than anything else, also a triangular shape happening at sea. So we look at the right-hand side, and when I really, brighten this up, we see these lines, and, this looks like something of intelligent design happening right here. It's very rigid, very geometrical. See what you think. And then when we go down to these B and C2 elements, I started seeing something kind of diving down this way. It looked like a chemtrail, but maybe something else, a chemical field trail. Take a look at my previous show and my thoughts on that and what that is. Also take a look at an excellent documentary called The Dimming by Dane Wigington on YouTube. It's really excellent documentary on the differences between contrails and chemtrails and what's been going on lately. I may not agree with every view, but the majority of it seems pretty solid. Now, there's a lot of strange thing happening in the scene, so we have a little interdimensional looking or strange cloaking sphere, and then just some strange stuff. Look at this thing, the way it undulates here. It's of different density than everything else around it. And then this thing at the end, it looks like almost like this maybe even made this trail more solid triangular shape. So let's look at this with enhancement. Here we go. It's pretty solid here at C.3 is a triangle. Again, this is strange, like an independent standalone object. To me, that's something interdimensional or cloaking in a weird way. And then I still don't know what this B.3 is, so let's take a look. Keep looking. We're just zooming in on that one element. So B.4 and B.5 is this mysterious trail coming down. Now this is not a plane. Look at the tip down here at B.5. So we'll go up to B.6 and try to isolate that little area a little bit better. And my God, look at this thing. It's not a plane creating this thing. And I'm not sure what it is, but I know it's not a plane, and not an airplane that we know of as humanity here. But look at this. It looks symmetrical, like these 2 points are happening, with this bar in between. So to me, that's an unidentified craft. I don't know by whom, but again, see what you think. Okay, more strange cloud activity, and this overall thing just felt weird. So we have like a backlight situation. We have these little dark objects. This looked like a shape, shadows of these little shapes going. So I'm like, okay, let's definitely look at this with enhancement. We see some parallel lines happening in the background. I don't know if those are chemtrails that are man-made or by something else. We see these little objects. Something's starting to look triangular here at the edge. This is definitely taking on some kind of form in the distance. To me, it looks like a collection of forms, a sphere, perhaps a triangle in the back there and here as well. See what you think is going on, and we're going to take a look at E.1 with different enhancement to get at what's coming down here on angle. That's pretty strange. We've got a darker form. This might be a part of a bigger triangular shape, hard to say, but look at this like tentacle or thing kind of coming down, just very bizarre. So this is something else unidentified to me up in the upper right hand. It might be more of a supernatural phenomenon. I'm not sure. See what you think that thing is. All right, now we're coming in close on getting to our dragon, the feature of the show. But so I'm looking northwest toward a sunset, and I went outside because looking out the window, everything started to turn reddish and pinkish. So I knew something very special was about to happen in the sky. And so I'm looking at A, and I'm seeing a very distinct rim and curve here. And as I was heading toward the west-northwest to get beyond these trees to see what was really going on here. And before I do that, though, I'm going to show this with enhancement so you can really see that rim and that ring shape. And then you just see this wild-looking sky, all the different color signatures happening in one place. This usually means something extraordinary is happening up there. And I'm going to say of ET or some kind of supernatural phenomenon. So, but look at this. This looks like a craft, cloaking craft that's like popping up out of this thing. But let's keep looking. We're going to zoom in on that ring, and at 8.2 it looks like a triangular craft, and something strange is happening up at B. I'm not sure if this is like a portal or an object, so we're going to look at enhancement on it. Still hard to say, but it's just a strange shape, and something seems to be happening around it. Anyway, we see a very clear object here at 8.3, and look at this rim. Look at this thing. And we have some disturbance up here, in particular. So I'm going to say this, just before we get further, I'm just guessing this is some type of craft, some type of strange phenomenon happening. We're going to look at it without any color, just to see if we can see anything in a different way and pull anything else up out of here. Seems to be a swath moving through the sky here, like a path cut through. A lot of strangeness happening around here. See what you think is going on. Then, here we go. A is our dragon. So, calling this the dragon in flight because I came around the corner, and then not only is this ring, it turns out this looks like a wing on one side and a wing on the other with the body in the middle if the head of the dragon were coming at us this way. We have this weird gray smoky tracings happening through the sky as well, and this weird object, darker, happening above here. Just the whole scene was really strange. Seemed to be some interdimensional things happening here where my cursor is. These are two circles with two dark points in them that are equidistant, so that's intelligent design with a peak that's also equidistant. Symmetrical. So we're going to look at this with enhancement. But when I came around the corner, bam, when I saw this, I said, oh my God, it's a dragon in the sky. It didn't feel, fear or anything positive. It just seemed neutral. It was just there. It was pretty striking, pretty incredible. Anyway, I'm blowing out some of the brightness to get at what this object might be back in here, but I couldn't get at too much more. But perhaps you see something in here, but I'm going to keep moving on for time's sake. So again, we'll get more to this dragon in detail, but I still was trying to find out what's going on up here. I actually didn't move the letter up, but we see a triangular shape here where my cursor is with like a trail behind it. Looks like it zoomed up back off in the distance. This looks like a pretty rigid structure, like a rectangular shape. And look at this line, clean diagonal, there's either that's the edge of something else in the foreground with like a walnut-shaped thing in the back, or, it's kind of hard to tell. Some stuff is in the foreground, in the background, and kind of an interplay of that, but we might see what this shape is better in another slide coming up. Something strange happening in here too, just the whole scene felt weird, and even if this weren't like a sky dragon, I'm calling this dimension dipping, where an actual entity from another dimension in the shape of a form of a dragon might have dipped into our dimension for a bit and left this kind of smoke imprint, is what I'm going with. Because otherwise, what is in our natural world that would create these, spindly things equidistant with some kind of body in the middle? Or again, it could be some type of ET craft that just, formed itself, arranged itself in the shape of a dragon. So here we go, we're zooming in, and I'm trying to get at what's going on. So this looks like it could be independent, and this as well, with something strange, again, shaped happening in here. Looks like a tail or a trail happening out behind it, and a little, two little actually triangular shapes happening above. And I'm taking the color out just to look at things in a different way, and look, I see a very kite or diamond shape happening back here. Straight diagonal, straight line, symmetrical shape. We're talking intelligence here, not just haphazard natural cloud formations. Okay, lower right-hand side, I'm trying to get at what that object was. We have our dragon departed and faded, the smoke trail, or the smoky image of it anyway. And then we've got this darker object sitting beyond. So is it an egg shape? Is it something else? I can't tell yet because there's a lot of cloud or artificial cloud in front of it. So again, just all kinds of strangeness. This could also be the outline in the shape of a cloaking craft, more like invisible, looking. It has like a very gossamer, translucent quality to it. Not sure, but let's keep looking with enhancement. I see like this could be a triangular imprint here. Again, I can't quite see what's going on, but maybe you can detect some more clues in this overall scene. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and just not say too much. Just, again, we've got a straight line here. Is this a triangular object in front of all of this? We're dealing with several layers or several dimensions. Hard to say. We've got a lot of weird fuzziness, though. Again, see what you think is happening. Again, here's that like egg shape, perhaps. Maybe it's some other shape. We're going to look at it again. Now this starts to emerge. Something else is kind of moving in here to create this disturbance. And note the color signatures. We get a bright burst of white where we've got warm tones in here. What the heck is going on? As I always say, I may have more questions than answers on some of this stuff, but hope that you're looking at this with a great imagination and kind of looking at things in a different way too to see what you think could be going on. Here I'm taking the color out again just to see if we can pick up anything else in a different way. This could be a type of cloak, this little really rough textured stuff over a triangular shape, I'm guessing. See what you see in here though. Then we're going to get to, we're going to look down to the lower left of that weird object, which is still present at 8.6. Darker, different color, not a natural cloud. C also starts to take on an interesting form. This is very choppy. This looks like kind of interdimensional cloak to me. And at E, you're going to see a triangular shape pop up right there. So to me, that's a definite craft cloaking. That's interdimensional activity. This is some type of intelligence here because it's pointed ellipse and it's got interesting spacing that seems to have intelligent design and equidistant spacing. See what you think though. There's a whole lot more going on in this scene than I can get to today. Okay, another look I think before we depart from the scene, but there's that, again, that weird shape. And then C.2, I want to get at what that is, so we look to the right at C.3, and see that just looks very regular, it looks very symmetrical, looks like intelligent design, so I'm calling that a cloaking craft. 8.9, I still don't know what this thing is. This big smudge out, like a big thumbprint in the sky. See what you think that is. Alright, this is another strange view, looking in the morning, a little bit after 6 in the morning in the east. And we just have strange shapes, so this is coming across straight, and we've got like a triangular shaped peak here, like a mountain peak here. And then we got a strange smudge out, like in a more elliptical fashion. Then at the same time, we got this pink beam coming up. So let's take a look and see what's going on at 8.1. Zoomed in as best I can. It was pretty far from my camera range, but look at this. You got that little weird peak. We got this thing coming over with like a point to it, and then this weird smudge. So to me, if you look at some of my other shows, I have one called Rim Watching. I do cover where I've seen craft kind of perched on the top of overall quote-unquote cloud formations. Typically those are artificial looking cloud formations, and they just kind of perch on the very top, and then if you observe them long enough and take enough pictures frame by frame, you can see these things moving. So to me, that's a cloaking craft for sure. And then now we're going to look southeast at a different, this was a very artificial feeling kind of wedge-shaped cloud popping up. Again, it's not a natural cloud to this area in the past decades. And it had a weird illumination, looked like self-illumination coming from within, and a weird smudgy thing happening over here at A. So let's look. We got different color signatures. Look at this. These look like regularized, like the different color signature, though, is forming itself in the pattern of maybe backlit lighting beyond in this thing. And they happen here and here. And I've been watching these too much to know, to not know that they're not some type of artificial activity happening in there. So I am going to say there's cloak and craft happening in here, based on some of my previous observations as well on these similarly shaped clouds with light sources within. Okay, now we're going to look northeast, and this just seems strange too. So the color signature was really weird. This was in the morning, it looked more reddish. And then we have these streaks, coming this way with this line, hard line coming this way. So that caught my attention. So I thought, let's look at this with some enhancement. And look at that red signature. And it gets violet purple over here, which I usually only see when there's some type of artificial stuff happening. So this actually looks like a little bit of a rhombus shape, it's darker thing. So I'm calling that overall thing a cloak and craft. We got that white point again, where I said it happens on a darker background. Usually means something artificial is going on. And we've got a tube-like thing here. We've got a long, dark object here with some plasma around it cloaking. A little thing happening here. Something jutting out here as well. And, just all the little texture in here shows me there's objects hiding all in there. We're going to zoom in one more time, and sub-A, subletter, lowercase a, showing that brighter white point in there. And it just shows me there's machine parts or something happening in here. When we look at A2, it looks like a triangular shape. And again, something hard and structure here, kind of popping off of here. And then in B, we just take one more look at what could be going on in there. All right, then we get to this looking south. This was over a park looking south. And this, is just forming very strange. It looks like it has a notch in this overall quote-unquote cloud system. Looks very artificial with this weird outcropping fuzzy coming off of it. Again, all of this extremely low in altitude. And then we look at this with some enhancement, and the only thing I get at is this is some strange looking interdimensional object, probably cloaking in there. Looks like it was resting in here if you look, and maybe just like drew up and popped up there somehow. I don't know, see what you think is going on. Okay, high strangeness once again, looking west-southwest, off into the distance in the horizon. Not only is this level, this overall thing at A, we've got some weird things happening within it, with, like plasma happening around it. We can have some action. And then look at this thing. What the heck is this? This like strange misformed elongated triangle just propped up on the top of this stuff, like you just laid a pencil on, over something rough. I don't understand. That's definitely not natural. And then we have, triangular shaped peaks and some overall strange thing like this thing is on top of it. This is not natural cloud. So we zoom in and look at all of this with enhancement. Look at that, it's like a clear silhouette of a shape. It's like nobody even tried to cloak, what's going on in there. And we have a triangular form popping off of here off the side. Again, this is all very straight. We have a triangular form at the front. And this is different white, blue-white color signatures. So it looks like either machine parts popping out or little sensors or little, I don't know what, little objects, even floating off in the foreground of this thing. See what you think's happening as always. I'm zooming in one more time. This might be too fuzzy, but bitmappy. But mainly, look at this. I mean, that's just like some foreign object just plopped down on something that's supposed to be cloud, which can't be if it's going to like hold this form. Again, we've got these weird peaks. Again up here too. See what you think. All right, changing gears a bit, we're looking southwest, and then we get this wisp-like phenomenon, which was happening not too far away from what we just looked at. That was very rigid. So to me, these are more, hope I'm making the right assumption here, but more of our supernatural friends in the sky, like air wisps that definitely have intelligent design, that may be helping to kind of clean up toxins in our atmosphere is kind of one of my latest ideas. When I look at these things, they come in and around chemtrails and clean them up, or they come in and around a rigid object, which might be not friendly in nature. So I'm still not too sure about what the role of these things is, but they're a very, new phenomenon in the sky, at least in the past decade, from what I've been observing. But very beautiful, very elegant. They do look like they have some type of intelligent design to them. But let's look at this with some enhancement. And I really have more question marks than I have any answers for, but it looks like there's a little triangular shape here that this stuff enveloped over. There looks like an imprint of a triangle back here. Again, not sure what the role is of these things, but they're very elegant, whatever they are. All right, then we're getting to a very rigid triangular shape with some strange thing bursting out the side of it. Can't even tell you what that is. At sea, there looks like a standalone object in cloaking material, cloaking object. And here we go. We just take a look at C.1. We see it a little better. And look at this. We got diagonal, very rigid lines happening on each side, symmetrical. To me, something's definitely cloaking in here. We have a rectangular little thing outcropping here, and this is definitely some type of unidentified activity popping up out of this so-called cloud in quotes. Okay, then we're going to look at this. This is a weird formation happening in the western sky. Towards sunset, we've got the crescent moon here, and we're going to look at this with enhancement. We have a bigger red-pink signature behind some haze happening. Take a look at my description box below of what I think could be causing this red-pink color signature. There are a lot of possibilities. There may even be more than what I've listed. And then we're looking at this. So this overall thing just felt very strange. Looks like some texture and patterning happening here with like a circle and some little objects, outcropping here. Could be a coincidence, but again, I believe that is some type of more ephemeral cloaking craft. All right, well, this is the photo of the week and the close of the show, so I thank you for flocking over here a while. And these are white ibis in flight. I just thought this was an interesting moment to catch them because, as you see, most of them have their level wingspan out, but this one is kind of making the little V for victory on its own, doing its own thing. So I love the spirit of that one. If I had to be any one of these and say which one are you going to be, I would be that one right there. So I wish you all a fantastic day, whether it's daytime or evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for spending time on this channel, and as always, I wish you tremendous peace and love and a gorgeous right now. Take care, everybody. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.